I am the host of Difficult People Chronicles. SF Johnnie, seriously focused Johnnie, back at you with another episode. Today's episode is called Common Sense. Before I get into this episode, I want to say this. I want you all to check out the episode about Gypsy Rose. It was a 2020 special. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in this world, and there's a lot of things that shouldn't surprise me. But I'm going to say that this girl's mother, Gypsy Rose, you could tell that she was evil spirited. She probably had a few demons inside of her. She was off. And the way she operated, her it was crazy. You just gotta see if you could pull it up. I'm gonna provide the link underneath for the article on biography.com, and you can watch the episode Dr. Phil interview. The link for YouTube is underneath as well. I'm going to just say this. This girl, Gypsy Rose, she was in a wheelchair and she was seen as sickly. She looked like she was 7 or 8, but she was really like 22 or 23. Her mother, just to give you a snippet, would give her Oragel so she could drool. So it looked like she really had problems with she would have feeding tubes and multiple surgeries and all this other stuff. And in the end, there was nothing wrong with her. She could walk perfectly fine. She didn't need no wheelchair. It was crazy. And her mother, man, if that wasn't a description of the devil, like she was so crafty. She had an estimated of 10 warrants in a particular state. She would steal from family members and all sorts of stuff. And she was using her daughter basically. They would get donations because people felt so sorry for the daughter, and then the mother said she had health issues and all this other stuff, when in actuality there was nothing wrong with the daughter. The mother was doing things to make her sick. You got to check that out. That was just crazy. And this is just people that are out there. You know what I'm saying? People that are out there and they do things and they think that there's no repercussion. And this girl's mother, she ended up being murdered by Gypsy Rose's boyfriend at the time. And Gypsy Rose met this guy on the internet. Do you want to know where? ChristianMingles.com. Yeah, I can't make it up. You got to check it out for yourself. So, let me get into this episode. This episode is called Common Sense. Now, I went to my annual doctor's appointment and I met a lady, wonderful person. We had a lot in common about certain things when it comes to common sense because that's what our conversation was about. So she called parents that teach their kids um, that work ethic. She called them pilot parents. But when I looked it up on the internet, I saw that pilot parents was a different definition. So, but I knew what she was talking about. I knew what she was talking about. I'm going to call these parents, I'm going to describe them as grinding parents. Parents who grind. You know what I'm saying? Because these parents, they teach their children, common sense, skills. They don't always learn these type of things in school at an early age, like asking the right questions, taking initiative to do problem solving on a lesser scale, or having a work ethic that will build into something as they get older. You know, things that trickle down from the parents to the kids, like show them what grinding looks like. You know, they go to work, they got to clean the house, they got to sort through the laundry, colors on one side of the floor and then the whites on the other side of the floor before you put them in the washing machine. And, different things. A lot of people in this world are not teaching their kids common sense. So I'm going to get more into it because I'm going to tell you how I know. I know times is different, and I feel a child should be in a child's place, but they need to be taught some things because I'm seeing grown people who do not have a great work ethic. They don't have common sense. They don't even want to think. I don't know what that's about. And there's nothing wrong with them mentally. They just lazy. They want the bag, but they don't want to have the skill set. That's like a woman who wants a family but does not know how to cook. She don't even know what to do with a red pepper. You can't be serious. I know God loves when we help someone. I'm seeing people who want all of a person. Like they want them to hold their hand till infinity. I remember working early on in an accounting department at this company, and there was a girl there, and I trained her in something. And 7 months later, she asked me, she kept every month, she was asking me the same question. I tell y'all two things to have on the job is a pen or a pencil and a notepad and take notes. Because everybody's not going to be wanting to train you all the time. And let's be clear, some people don't want to train other people because maybe they wasn't trained. Or there's people that sometimes been working with companies for years and they feel like they shouldn't have to learn how to do the work. And when it comes to training them, it becomes difficult because they want you to do their work. Some people don't even want to hold your hand. You have people in their 30s and 40s who, I don't know what it is. Like sometimes I be like, oh shoot, like I get so exhausted because it's like, where's your common sense? Like common sense is not so common nowadays. That should be a requirement. Like that's something that people gonna have to start putting on applications. Like, do you have common sense? Check the box, yes or no. So I sat down with this lady at the doctor's office, and she talked about her daughter being a grinder, working hard, assertive, have a great work ethic. And what I said to her was, you should be proud of her. You should be proud of yourself because at the end of the day, people like that is hard to find. I know. I explained that comes from experience, like from the parents. And she agreed. We agreed that nowadays a lot of people do not have common sense. I remember training someone years ago, and the person never, this was another person. My cubicle was on the other side of her. So what I said to her is, if you need help, you can just stand up and say, reach over and just be like, I need help. And then I'll come around or whatever, right? Simple. One, two, three. That didn't happen. This person sat at her cubicle for 4 to 5 hours. By the time I walked over to her and I said, oh, you're finished because, it's almost time to go home. She said, oh, I don't understand something. I said, what? And then she couldn't explain to me what she couldn't understand. She said she forgot, but it was something she couldn't understand. You, I was like, you sat there for 4 to 5 hours and you never said nothing. It's, and then I said, why didn't you come get me? She shrugged her shoulders. She was every bit of, I would say 40 maybe, because she was older than me. She shrugged her shoulders. And I say this, when you find a person, I don't care who it is, male or female, you asking them a question, they look you in the face and they have that expression like a child and they shrug their shoulders. They're young-minded. Young-minded. But I quickly learned she knew everything about her cell phone very well. She knew how to navigate through the cell phone. She knew how to go into her email. She knew how to do all this stuff. Anything she was interested in, she knew how to do. But when it came to the work, She wanted the bag, but she didn't know how to do the work. She wasn't trying to think. She shrugged her shoulders. Yep. It was to the point she refused to respond to normal stuff. And I realized when it came to life or the job, like certain situations, she was a routine type person because she didn't want to think. And she wasn't slow, she was lazy. hmm And being lazy can make you harbor that spirit. And it'll make you have no common sense, especially if you don't want to think. For example, I would bring up an error to her attention, and she felt because we worked through the error together, she did not need to do anything. So she kept making the same mistake over and over and over again and would expect me to help her. And then her supervisor would say things like, "Oh, can you just help her?" And such. And I can't stand when people want to overlook certain things that needs to be addressed. And then I'm just like, you don't think you should really look into that, like why we are so many months, you know, down the line and she's still doing the same thing, even after I show her X, Y, and Z. So it got to the point I stepped to the side and let her supervisor handle that. And then she got frustrated. Then it became a problem. It wasn't a problem before until she had to do it. That's how some people are. You know, people, when they don't think, that creates a crutch. And they think that the world is going to help them out. Somebody is going to help them out. Some people think that they don't have to think and their good looks will get them out of whatever situation. But I explained something. If there is a disaster, they're going to have to think on their own. And that's what I say to people that don't have common sense. It's like if something happens, a disaster, you're going to have to think on your own. I have another one. When I was younger, there was this girl that her cousin, I don't know if she drank too much, smoked too much, partied too much. I don't know what it was. But I kept saying, you don't, I used to always ask questions like, you don't find something wrong with your cousin? So one day we was all sitting down and she was talking about buying something. And she said, the store is open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? And then she said, they get on my nerve because Saturday and Sunday I went there and they wasn't open. So, and I know you looking the way I look right now. Like my eyebrows came together. I was ready to solve the problem. I was confused. I was like, okay, let me apply my problem solving skills. I'm ready. Go ahead, girl. Shoot. What you mean? And then she said it again. She said, yeah, the store is open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So I went there Saturday and Sunday and they were closed. They should be open. So I said, is there different hours that they're open on Saturday and Sunday? She said it should be 24 hours. I said, oh, so Monday through Friday is 9 to 5 and then Saturday, Sunday is 24 hours? I said, that don't make sense. If it states that Monday to Friday is 9 to 5, then that means basically Saturday and Sunday they're closed. And then she said, when the hours is not listed, it's supposed to be 24 hours. I got up. I said, I'm done. I looked at homegirl. I said, that's your cousin, yo. Like, she ain't in my family. Like, that's your cousin. How? And her cousin was arguing with her. She was just like, how you gonna say it's Saturday and Sunday is 24 hours? She said, because it's not listed. So it's 24 hours. That's like an open window. And then she had the nerve to say, duh. And I was just, so I was like, I sat there and I looked at my friend. I said, duh. Because it just didn't make sense. I was like, what is wrong with people? It be those kind of people you gotta be like with your kids. You be like, come over here, child, come over here. Get away from that person before you make me do extra work for all them thought patterns on that person be rubbing off on you, God forbid. And I quickly realized her parents did not spend enough time with her growing up. But the question I had was, what else did she do outside the house? What was her friend circle like? Did she smoke and the weed fried her brain? Because weed is not for everybody. And there was a lot of other situations that happened with her. It was like she had no common sense. So for me, I spent a lot of time being quiet around her. And then she would always say things like, "You so quiet." We had nothing in common. Yeah, we had nothing in common. We had nothing in common. And sometime after that, years later, I was told that she would, because she sat on top of a lot of her bills, that she got hit with court papers because her debt was like ridiculous. And her rationale was, when she, let me see, when she gets a statement, and the statement says like 30 days, $200. And then it goes 90 days, $200. And then it goes 180 days, $200. After the 180 days with the $200, that's when she pays it. The 30, 90, 180 is an open window. I said, her in this open window is going to get her in trouble. Like, this is crazy. But that was her thought pattern. Yeah. So, here are 8 ways to work with your children who are the next generation and help them enhance their common sense. And this could apply to grown adults who are lacking or don't have any common sense. So don't be afraid to share. A lot of people say that common sense, you were born with common sense. I don't know all about that. I don't really I don't know. I feel like common sense comes from experience. That's my feelings. But anyway, I'm up for a debate. You can email me. Don't hit me with no statistics. I want to know real examples. And I'm not talking about statistics that you've seen on the internet. Don't give me none of that. I need real life testimonies, because I feel like when babies are a certain age, parents teach them certain things, they see certain things and observe, and that's how they gain, and they problem solve, they gain common sense. But anyway, here's some ways. You know, teach them life experiences by telling them yours, meaning the parents. The parents tell your kids your life experiences. Give them problem solving projects. Teach them how to be realistic. Because that fantasy thing needs to go out the door, especially with kids. Ask them what was the lesson learned from your experience. Talk about your testimonies. Teach them about cause and effect early on. And it could be little things in the house. Read certain materials to them with lessons in them, like the Bible. Teach them about how to observe things and give feedback. Teach them about people who failed in the world, made mistakes, those who won, why they did what they did, what did they do wrong, and what did they do right. Teach them how to be proactive. And one of the big things too, teach them about asking questions. Teach them how to think on their own. Don't be so quick to give them the answer. Wait till they give you an answer, and then you could correct them if they wrong. Ask them, how do they think things are done. Teach them how to make a move. Teach them about certain things in the house to strengthen their work ethic. Like I said before, they say people are born with common sense, and nothing is wrong with them. Like I said before, they say people are born with common sense. I don't know all about that because you got a lot of people out here nowadays talking about they want to get the bag, or they more focus on the salary they want to get and all this other stuff, and they are not using their common sense. What some of the things that can prevent a person from having common sense is a lack of experience, shutting off of the brain where the person does not think altogether. They want you to think for them, and you're not their brain. And lastly, fear. Fear stops a person from learning. So don't forget to check out that episode about Gypsy Rose. And that's it for today. For more, sign up for a session. Work on bettering you. Check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification, check out my store. For suggested topics, email me. All the links is underneath. Love me more and I love you more. Later.